What went wrong with Jordan Poole, and why are Wizards fans growing increasingly disillusioned? From a celebrated hero to a subject of intense criticism, Poole's journey has been anything but ordinary. Once the rising star of the Golden State Warriors, but since joining the Washington Wizards, the tide has turned dramatically. Let's dive into the side of Poole's story no one ever expected discovering, if he can overcome the odds and rewrite his narrative. Chapter 1: The Dramatic Rise. When talking about the Golden State Warriors, the spotlight often hovers around the likes of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, but there's another player whose trajectory with the Warriors was nothing short of a roller coaster ride: Jordan Poole. Back in 2019, Poole was the 28th pick in the NBA draft. People didn't expect much from him, but Poole had other plans. He was about to show everyone he was a hidden gem. In his first season, Poole's performance was okay, but not eye-catching. He averaged just 8.8 points per game. That's like scoring a few baskets each game, nothing too fancy. But then, something amazing happened. Poole went to the G League, which is like a training ground for NBA players. When he came back, he was a whole new player. It was like watching a superhero transformation. The 2020-21 season was when Poole started to shine. He improved his scoring to 12 points per game. That's like going from a C-grade student to a solid B. He was getting better and better. But the real magic happened in 2021-22. That season, Poole's game skyrocketed. He scored 18.5 points per game, almost like doubling his score from his rookie season. Now that is a huge leap. The best part? In the 2022 playoffs, when the team really needed someone to step up, Poole was there. In his first playoff game ever, he scored 30 points against the Denver Nuggets. Imagine being in your first big test and acing it. Poole was doing things on the court that made fans think of the great Steph Curry. He wasn't just scoring, he was making those jaw-dropping, super long three-point shots. Perhaps one of the most telling moments of Poole's impact was in the crucial Game 2 against the Memphis Grizzlies in the Western Conference semifinals. Poole racked up 31 points, again showcasing his scoring prowess. His contributions were vital in the Warriors' march towards the 2022 championship, solidifying his reputation as a player of high caliber. What made everyone talk about Poole was not just his scoring, but how he did it. He had this cool way of moving on the court, making quick decisions, and scoring points when the team really needed them. Famous basketball players and experts started saying great things about Poole. Paul George, a big-time NBA player, even said that Poole could become a top player if given the chance. After Jordan Poole's incredible season in 2021-22, everyone thought he was on his way to becoming one of the top players in the NBA. He was scoring big points and had played a huge part in the Golden State Warriors' success. But then, things started to change, and not in the way fans hoped. Chapter 2: The Unexpected Fall. The champagne showers from the 2022 championship hadn't even dried, but the air around Jordan Poole already felt different. The cheers of the Chase Center echoed faintly in his ears, replaced by a gnawing unease. His shooting, once a laser symphony, now sputtered like a faulty spark plug. Numbers that used to light up the stat sheet had dimmed, his percentages plunging from a stars to a role players. It was like watching a superhero lose their cape mid-flight, plummeting back to earth with a disconcerting thud. Oracle Arena, the 2021 playoffs. The Denver Nuggets on the ropes, clock ticking down on their season. Poole receives the inbound, a blur of motion past his defender, a lightning-fast crossover buys him some space, just enough to launch a prayer from beyond the arc. The ball, an orange comet, hangs in the air before swishing through the net, a buzzer beater that sends the Warriors crowd into a frenzy. Poole, arms raised in triumph, basks in the adulation, a hero forged in the crucible of pressure. The Washington bench offered quiet sympathy, a far cry from the Warriors' celebratory pandemonium. The whispers of doubt now clung to him like a second skin, his confidence withering under the harsh glare of scrutiny. Reports swirled of a changed Poole, one who'd traded relentless improvement for a puzzling complacency. It was as if he'd hit a pause button on his progress, leaving everyone bewildered by the sudden halt. The Chase Center 2022 Finals, Game 7, a do-or-die battle against the Milwaukee Bucks. Draymond Green finds Poole cutting through the lane, a perfect pass amidst the chaos. Time seems to slow down as Poole rises, his arm a piston launching the ball. It arcs over the outstretched arms of Giannis Antetokounmpo before sinking through the net with a soft whisper. The roar of the crowd washes over him, the momentum shifting as Poole, eyes ablaze with competitive fire, leads the charge to victory. Even the $128 million contract extension, meant to be a coronation, felt like a crown of thorns. Critics questioned the timing, their voices a chorus of disapproval. Undeserved, they scoffed, a reward for mediocrity. The hero's spotlight had dimmed, replaced by the harsh glare of the doubters. And if that wasn't enough, the on-court friction with Draymond Green, culminating in a public practice scuffle, painted a picture of disharmony. The Warriors, once a symbol of cohesion, now seemed fractured, the cracks spreading to encompass Poole, their former golden boy. The summer of 2023 brought unexpected news. Not a trade request, but a trade itself. The Warriors, with a heavy heart, shipped Poole to the Washington Wizards. A fresh start, some said, a gamble, others whispered. For Poole, it was a chance to rewrite the narrative, to reclaim the magic that had seemingly vanished. The fall had been harsh, the whispers of doubt deafening. But in the quiet of the Washington practice court, a flicker of defiance remained. In his hands, a basketball felt familiar, a grounding force amidst the turbulence. As he launched a shot, the arc of the ball tracing a familiar path against the arena lights, a sliver of the old confidence flickered in his eyes. The shot missed, clanking off the rim, but the echo didn't carry the weight of defeat. It was a challenge, a dare to his faltering resolve. He grabbed another ball, and another, his movements gaining purpose, his frustration a fuel for a silent vow. The ghosts of the Bay Area still lingered, but in their shadows, a new resolve was forging. The fall had been unexpected, but the climb back could be even more thrilling. The question wasn't if he could rise again, but how high he could fly. When Jordan Poole joined the Washington Wizards, there was a buzz of excitement. Fans hoped he would bring some of his Warriors magic to the team. They envisioned Poole as a scoring dynamo who could turn games around just like he did with the Warriors. The expectations were high, perhaps too high. Poole, who had averaged a promising 18.5 points per game in the last season with the Warriors, was seen as a potential game-changer for the Wizards. His shooting prowess, especially from the three-point line, where he had a 36.4% success rate with the Golden State Warriors, was particularly anticipated. However, the transition wasn't as smooth as hoped. In the initial games with the Wizards, Poole's scoring average dipped dramatically. He struggled to even come close to the 18-point mark that had become his standard with the Warriors. His shooting percentage from the field, which was a respectable 44.8 in his last season with the Golden State, saw a noticeable decline. One stark example of this drop in form was evident in a critical match against the Miami Heat, where Poole only managed to score 12 points, shooting a mere 30% from the field. His three-point shooting, once a hallmark of his game, also suffered, with Poole hitting only 2 of 7 attempts from beyond the arc. This was a far cry from the player who once electrified the Chase Center with his scoring feats. Defensively, Poole's struggles were equally as apparent. His defensive rating, which measures a player's effectiveness on defense, worsened compared to his last season with the Warriors. In several key games, Poole's defensive lapses led to easy scoring opportunities for opponents, contributing to the Wizards' struggles on the court. The reaction from the Wizards fans was a mix of disappointment and frustration. They had witnessed Poole's explosive performances for the Warriors and expected similar heroics. However, the reality was a series of underwhelming performances that fell short of both Poole's and the fans' expectations. Chapter 4: Controversies and the Future. Off the court, reports of Poole's attitude issues began to surface. There were instances where the interactions with teammates and coaching staff were less than ideal. A noticeable incident involved a heated exchange with a coach during practice, which was leaked and widely discussed in the media. This behavior was seen as a departure from the team-focused ethos that the Wizards, like most NBA teams, strive to uphold. Another incident that highlighted Poole's attitude problem was during a timeout in a close game. Cameras caught Poole visibly frustrated, engaging in a verbal altercation with a teammate. This kind of behavior, especially in high-pressure situations, was not in line with the professional conduct expected of NBA players. Poole's lackluster performances in crucial games added to the growing resentment. In a pivotal match against the Brooklyn Nets, Poole struggled defensively, allowing key scores by the opposition in the final minutes. His defensive rating, a metric that assesses a player's defensive effectiveness, was notably poor in this game, reflecting his struggles to contain opposing players. These incidents, combined with his underwhelming performance, starkly contrasted with the team's ethos and fan expectations set for Poole. Fans who once cheered his heroics with the Warriors were now left questioning his commitment and fit with the Wizards. The hope that Poole would bring a spark to the Wizards was overshadowed by these controversies, leading to a growing sense of disillusionment among the fan base. Looking at the long-term impacts on Poole's career, these challenges in Washington could potentially affect his market value and the perception of him as a reliable team player. The NBA is as much about reputation and consistency as it is about raw talent. For Poole, rebuilding his image and proving his worth on and off the court will be critical in defining his future in the league. For the Wizards management, the situation with Poole presents a dilemma. On one hand, his potential and past performance with the Warriors are undeniable. On the other hand, his current form and off-court issues pose a risk. The management must weigh the benefits of giving Poole time to find his rhythm against the potential need to explore trade options. However, trading Poole is complicated by his significant contract, which might deter potential trade partners, especially if they share concerns about his recent performance and attitude.